Sophie Turner, who captivated millions around the globe with her portrayal of Sansa Stark in the iconic series Game of Thrones, has recently opened up about the surprising and profound life lessons she gleaned from her time on the fantasy epic. Appearing on the Dish podcast, the Joan actress offered a candid glimpse into how the experience shaped her both personally and professionally during the 9 years she dedicated to Westeros. "Everything I learned from Game of Thrones, and a bit from my parents," the 29-year-old actress reflected, emphasizing just how formative the series was during her crucial adolescent and young adult years. Having stepped into the world of politics, betrayal, and dragons at the tender age of 13, Sophie quite literally grew up on set, surrounded by elaborate costumes, intricate sets, and an ensemble cast that felt more like family than colleagues. Interestingly, despite being part of one of the biggest TV shows in history, Sophie admitted that she has never actually watched the series in its entirety. Part of this stems from her long-standing discomfort with seeing herself on screen. Basically, it's warring families fighting for the throne. "There are dragons, and that's about it really," she described with a hint of self-deprecating humor. She went on to explain that watching herself act brings her a unique discomfort, often plunging her into what she described as a bout of depression. This vulnerability highlights an often overlooked aspect of fame, the struggle some actors face when confronting their own performances, especially in such an intense and public forum. Despite not watching the show, Sophie doesn't downplay its impact on her craft. She openly refers to Game of Thrones as the best acting class she could have asked for. Having never undergone formal drama school training, Sophie instead absorbed knowledge directly from her extraordinarily talented co-stars. Sharing scenes with acting giants like Peter Dinklage, Lena Headey, and Charles Dance provided her with a front-row seat to world-class performances and techniques. "It felt like I won a competition," she said, still sounding in awe of the experience that turned her from a hopeful young actress into an Emmy-nominated star. Beyond the acting chops, the camaraderie on set gave Sophie a sense of belonging. "We all were a family," she said warmly, recalling long days shooting in harsh weather conditions, surviving exhausting night shoots, and finding solace in friendships forged in between takes. These relationships anchored her through her formative years, a period most young people spend in relative privacy, not in front of millions. In her conversation, Sophie also shared a surprisingly frank and humorous confession, that she learned much of her sex education from working on Game of Thrones. With the series' infamous explicit scenes and mature content, it's perhaps not so surprising that a teenager spending her formative years on set would be exposed to things far beyond the PG-13 talk she might have received at home. "I definitely got my sex education from that show. More than enough," she laughed, acknowledging how surreal it was to grow up surrounded by scenes depicting the often brutal and unfiltered aspects of adult relationships. Today, Sophie continues to carve out an impressive career, stepping into diverse roles like her portrayal in Dark Phoenix and more recently Joan. But it's clear that her years in Westeros left an indelible mark on who she is today. The confidence, resilience, and adaptability she developed during those intense years continue to inform her work and life off-screen. While many might envy the glamour of growing up as part of one of television's greatest phenomena, Sophie's candid reflections remind us that behind every red carpet moment is a person still figuring it all out, and sometimes learning about life in the most unexpected ways.